Smoke billowed into the sky as flames licked the heart of the young American Republic. The White House symbol of the presidency, power, and promise was engulfed in fire. Its walls cracked and crumbled as British troops marched away, leaving behind a city scorched, humiliated, and stunned. But how did it come to this? To understand the day the White House burned, we have to go back to a war many Americans barely understood, and fewer still wanted: the War of 1812. Just 3 decades after the Revolution, the United States found itself once again facing its old colonial ruler, Great Britain. Tensions had been simmering for years. British naval ships were stopping American vessels, capturing sailors, and forcing them into service. The U.S. saw it as kidnapping. Britain called it policy. The U.S. declared war in June 1812, hoping to defend national honor and maybe even conquer parts of Canada. But things didn't go as planned. American forces struggled. Battles were lost, and by 1814, Britain, now done fighting Napoleon in Europe, turned its full attention to the war across the Atlantic. They wanted revenge. Their plan was bold: strike the American capital, Washington, D.C., still a relatively small and poorly defended city, seemed like an easy target. And it was. In August, a seasoned British force of about 4,000 troops landed in Maryland. Their leader, Major General Robert Ross, moved fast. American militia tried to stop them at the Battle of Bladensburg and failed spectacularly. Some historians call it a Bladensburg run, as U.S. forces fled in chaos. With the road to Washington wide open, the British advanced. President James Madison had already fled. Government officials scattered. The city was left vulnerable. As British troops entered the capital, they encountered little resistance. Their orders were clear: retaliate for American attacks on York, now Toronto, and show the U.S. that its fledgling government was far from invincible. They began with the capital. British soldiers set fire to the House of Representatives, the Senate, the Library of Congress. Flames roared through the buildings, lighting up the night sky. Next, the president's mansion, what we now call the White House. But before the troops could torch it, one act of quiet bravery unfolded. First Lady Dolley Madison, refusing to flee until the last moment, famously saved a full-length portrait of George Washington. She ordered it cut from the frame and carried to safety. That portrait still hangs today. Once inside the White House, British soldiers dined on a meal laid out for American officials who had fled in haste. Then they set the mansion ablaze. The roof collapsed, glass shattered, paintings, furniture, and records were reduced to ash. And then nature intervened. A powerful storm, some say a hurricane, rolled into Washington. Winds ripped through the city. Rain poured from the heavens. Some accounts even describe a tornado touching down. The storm may have extinguished some fires and forced the British to retreat sooner than planned. Ironically, the same forces that burned the city may have also helped save it. In total, the British occupied Washington for just over 24 hours. But the damage they inflicted was psychological as much as physical. Americans were shocked, humiliated. The idea that their capital, designed to reflect the dignity of a new democracy, could be so easily Overrun was a wake-up call. But out of the ashes came resilience. Congress reconvened in temporary quarters. The White House was rebuilt, this time with stronger walls and a sense of defiance. President Madison returned, and the country pressed on by 1815. The War of 1812 came to a close with the Treaty of Ghent. No territory changed hands. But America had learned a bitter lesson. National pride was not enough to protect a nation. And yet, the burning of Washington became more than just a scar. It became a symbol. A reminder that even in moments of vulnerability, the spirit of the Republic endures. That buildings can be rebuilt. That portraits can be saved. That nations, when tested, either crumble or rise. Today, tourists walk the halls of the White House without knowing its walls once stood, blackened by war. But if they listen closely, they might hear echoes of that smoky August night when fire tried to silence a nation and failed.